For me, I just wanted people to focus on my music and the beats that I was putting out. And I was always concerned that, like, if I showed my face, that it would take away from that because the world has a lot of questions. People are not always
Mm-hmm.
kind. And so I just, I didn't want that to be a distraction, which is unfortunate because it shouldn't be. Like, we're just existing in the world. However, you
Mm-hmm.
know, for where we are in society, we're still evolving and growing and all those things. So
Do you think more people are attracted to your producing or your disability?
I think it's a balance, honestly. I definitely believe that the initial draw may be the disability part because, I like look different, I guess, than most people are expecting. But then once they hear my beats, they're like, oh man, this is really great. And it could be the other way around. I think it just depends on the person that you're kind of asking. Like, some people are like, oh, I just hear the beats. And then some people are like, oh, yeah, I didn't expect those beats to sound like that or whatever. But then they were dope. So I really think it just depends, honestly. But I feel like it's more of a balance because I don't really get that many comments in relation to my disability that much. Typically, people just talk about the beats, and you know, so I definitely believe that people are paying attention to what I'm actually putting out.
Am I a producer by banging my drums like my pots and pans? Am I a producer now?
Hey, listen, I feel like most people would say you're probably not a producer. However, you could be a creative, I think, I feel like music has really just evolved into a lot of things where, you really could bang against pots and pans and make something really incredible, which is very cool, now what people are doing and showing their skill sets and stuff like that. I mean, some people are probably going to disagree with this, but I don't believe it's a hard market to break through if you're being yourself and you're authentic. I think a lot of times people get caught up in trends and what's hot and trying to stay relevant in that kind of way without just being themselves. And something that's helped me be around for as long as I've been around because I've been, in the online space specifically for 10 years now. And just me continuing to be authentic to who I am and what my sound looks like, and treating people with kindness and creating community, is really going to help you stay afloat because when you focus on community especially, like that's something that I feel like a lot of producers and just creators in general, they really miss out on is building the actual community. Because when you build a community, like they're going to support you through and through.
So let's talk about your hearing loss because I know you wear hearing aids
Yeah.
and you've also been a producer over 10 years. So like how does hearing loss affect your craft?
So, it's interesting because I have mild hearing loss, which will decrease over time, but I haven't noticed too many differences, I suppose. However, when someone else has like mixed my beats, like I had someone mix my beats one time because they were doing like a live, and I was like, wow, like all the things that they heard and stuff like that. I was like, man, I wouldn't have heard that, or even noticed that. So, I mean, I have noticed it in that way, but right now, as far as my hearing, it's not affecting it too much, which I'm grateful for because I'm still able to like create and you know do what I do now. But I do sometimes wonder like what will it look like in the next 10 years.
I mean, I can hear other things. Like if I take them out, I can hear things that sound different versus when I put the hearing aids on. And then when I switch like brands, it had a different sound profile, which is crazy. So like I really don't know if I'm hearing anything the way it should sound, you know? Like I know what you sound like, but I don't know if you really sound the way you do.
Yo.
So like do you think it affects the way you do music because of the
Oh
sound
yeah,
profile?
definitely. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't wear my hearing aids when I make music for that reason because
Okay.
it's way too overwhelming, especially because I like to use 808s and stuff like that, and it's just a
Mm.
lot, and it doesn't sound the same at all, and so it's actually a little more frustrating, which is a privilege because, of course, if I had to wear hearing aids like full time, like all the time, even making music, then I mean, I would just have to get past it. But yeah, music like doesn't sound the same at all. However, from what I learned, it's not supposed to. When I do wear my hearing aids, especially outside, like I do hear a lot of different things, and I'm like, man, I probably didn't even notice before. So I know that they work. I know that like there's certain things that I'll hear, but sometimes it can also be overwhelming, especially since I'm also autistic. So it's just a lot. It's
Hmm.
layers, as you just mentioned, to everything.
The plus side to wearing hearing aids is that I have kind of wireless AirPods 24/7,
Yep.
so I have like the most comfortable headphones because I don't know if you have do you have moles or it goes in your ear?
They just go in my ear, like you
Oh,
just insert it in the.
yeah. So you have minor. So like if you have moles, I mean you have medium to severe hearing loss, but like it's really comfortable and you have AirPods all day, so like it automatically connects to my phone, so I can just talk. I can like listen to music 24/7. I don't have to charge it. With like AirPods every 2 hours, it goes and goes and goes, and
Yep.
the battery's amazing. It lasts like a week.
Yeah. See, mine I specifically because I do deal with chronic pain, and so there are some days
Mm-hmm.
where I'm just not doing much. So I mean that affects me in a way where like maybe I don't make a video that day or whatever. But again, I'm really big into adapting, and that's the biggest thing. It's just finding different ways to adapt is like what I do now, and that's what's helped me. Just because you're disabled doesn't mean you're going to be successful, and I think that like that's a hard
Mm-hmm.
truth for people to kind of really understand. But like having a
Mm-hmm.
disability is not going to be the reason that you're successful. Because there's plenty of people that I know that are disabled that are doing different things and you know are maybe not reaching the levels of success that they would like to because again you have to have all of these different factors into it. And of course, you can talk deeper
Mm-hmm.
into like accessibility and privilege and all of these different things that go into it, for why someone may not be where they want to be.
Hello, welcome to my podcast, to my one Joe Such. I am Joe Such. I'll be giving you my to Jay. Jay is a mini producer. He has a rare brittle bone condition known as Osteogenesis Imperfecta Type 3. Also has autism and hearing loss. Now you put your face on everything. Let's talk about how you never wanted to show your face at all.
Okay, so, for me, I just wanted people to focus on my music and the beats that I was putting out. And I was always concerned that, like, if I showed my face, that it would take away from that because the world has a lot of questions. People are not always
Mm-hmm.
kind. And so I just, I didn't want that to be a distraction, which is unfortunate because it shouldn't be. Like, we're just existing in the world. However, you
Mm-hmm.
know, for where we are in society, we're still evolving and growing and all those things. So I didn't want to show my face at first because of those reasons. And one of my good friends, Ryan, he was like, "Hey, you should start making videos showing your face." And I was hesitant at first, but once I did the first video, it just became a thing where I just started getting consistently, where I started consistently putting out videos and people enjoyed them and started getting a lot of great feedback. And that really showed me, like, man, building a community is super important because it definitely helps. Obviously, I've dealt with people bullying and saying really mean comments and stuff like that. However, focusing on the impact that comes with putting out content that's showing your face in different topics that relate to like disability and just navigating through the music industry and entertainment industry as someone that's disabled is just really important if you can do it. And it's definitely worked out for me for the better, so I'm glad I did it.
Was the bow tie like a conscious decision? Like, was it something you wanted to incorporate into your online persona, or this happened to be just like wearing bow ties?
Okay, so the bow tie started because my grandmother, she used to work at this grocery store, and they had to wear bow ties for their uniform, and I just thought it was really cool.
Okay.
So she gave me my first three bow ties, and that's how the bow tie thing started. And
Mm-hmm.
then when I had my first logo, I used to have a red stripe in my hair, so it looked kind of like a faux hawk type ordeal. And so
Okay.
my original logo used to have the bow tie included in the
Hmm.
logo because I always wear a bow tie in my content. And then I kind of stopped wearing bow ties in my content as much just because, especially with chronic pain, trying to dress up all the time sometimes is a headache. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And so
Hmm.
I just didn't want to pretend to like force myself or anything like that. So I kind of slowed down on that, and now I've started to pick it up a little more where I will wear a bow tie more often in my content, but I'm not stressing myself out about it as much as I used to. I typically like wearing bow ties now for my content especially, but if I'm doing stuff like this, like an interview, or if I'm doing something specific where I'm gonna be, you know, around certain people or in a meeting or whatever the case is, or if I'm meeting someone for the first time, like on Zoom or something like that, I like to wear a bow tie because I do love bow
Hmm.
ties, and in the future, I would like to have like my own bow tie brand and just incorporate that into what I do because I really do enjoy like the looks of bow ties because there's so many different kinds. Like this one, is wooden, and I have various kinds. So if anyone's listening to this and wants to send a box of various bow ties, I'm all for it.
Well, I appreciate you doing the effort and putting it on for me. I feel special now.
Yes, definitely. Come on now.
I mean, how many bow ties are we talking here?
I don't know the count, but I'm sure it's maybe like 20 or 30. It's not like so.
Oh
It's
my,
not a wild amount. However, I definitely want to get like 100 or and more, and get like
oh
a
my God.
huge collection of bow ties. One for every day. I need 365 bow ties so I can wear one every
Oh
single
my God,
day
that's a
for a
lot.
year. And then just keep the collection going.
I kind of want to do that for my shoes, but I just realized there's some. I mean, ties is a little different because it's smaller, so you can just store it. Yeah, but I want to do that with shoes. I mean, I just like, I can't, I don't know. I think there's just too many, and then you'd have a difficulty
Yeah,
picking one. So
yeah.
I have to like limit myself. Like you go on Netflix and it's like you just scrolling through options and stuff. I need like 5 options, and then
Exactly.
I can't do that.
Yeah, yeah. You'd probably have like analysis paralysis because there's so many choices. So I probably would feel the same way though. Honestly, like in my mind, it probably sounds like a good idea, but in practicality, I probably wouldn't want that many bow ties to choose from. So I feel like the amount I have right now has been good because honestly, I gravitate towards like a select few anyway. So it probably
Hmm.
wouldn't be too much different if I got more.
I mean, what I do with my shoes actually was just more. So I'll just buy them and then I sell them, so I make some money off of it, and then I
Nice.
just buy others to just like keep it fresh. Before I used to be like, I'm gonna wear it till like it's garbage or destroyed, but now I'm just like, like I'm gonna wear it for a year or two, style change, sell it, make some money, use that money to buy something else, switching around like stop fashion changes and your style change too, like. But let's talk about like, so you went from not showing your face to your face. You ever thought of going the route to like Daft Punk or like Marshmallow that they did wear a
No.
helmet of some kind or mask and just produce content under a different name?
No, I haven't thought about that. I mean, I definitely believe that me showing my face and in combination with my personality has helped a lot. So I wouldn't want to stay hidden anymore or have some kind of like persona that people wouldn't be able to guess or anything like that. And also, I mean, especially because I'm in a chair, I don't really feel like it would be all that hard to guess. So I don't feel like there's that much of a
Yeah.
luxury to be too anonymous unless you just don't show your face at all. So
Yeah, I mean there are YouTubers that just never show their face at all and they have like millions and millions
yeah,
of
I know
views.
people do the
And
faceless
then
YouTube content, which is a very specific niche, which is really dope. Like that people that do
it's
that.
crazy though
Yeah,
to think about it.
yeah, it is like the way that the climate of YouTube has changed, of like faceless YouTube channels and people showing you how to do like YouTube automation and all these different things. Like you can make $5,000 a day just doing a faceless YouTube channel, and I've seen it, and to each their own. I definitely know it works for people. I don't mind showing my face now, and especially for everything that I do.
Well, now the question is, so you talked about earlier that you didn't want people to kind of like feel bad for your disability, so you would just hide your face and like, hey, you can market your disability. So now the question is, do you think more people are attracted to your producing or your disability?
I think it's a balance, honestly. I definitely believe that the initial draw may be the disability part, because I like look different, I guess, than most people are expecting. But then once they hear my beats, they're like, "Oh man, this is really great," And it could be the other way around. I think it just depends on the person that you're kind of asking. Like some people are like, "Oh, I just hear the beats," and then some people are like, "Oh yeah, I didn't expect those beats to sound like that or whatever," but then they were dope. So I really think it just depends, honestly. But I feel like it's more of a balance because I don't really get that many comments in relation to my disability that much. Typically, people just talk about the beats, and you know, so I definitely believe that people are paying attention to what I'm actually putting out versus me, so which is helpful, honestly.
At the end of the day, we're all humans, so like,
Yeah,
like this, like we're just gonna talk about what we enjoy and stuff. It kind of happens like if you're an outsider in the disability world, and like you think like if all two disability people are like together, they're talking about disabilities, and it's like no, it's really not. Like we're just talking about literally anything else. We would talk about anything else that a regular person would do. Like you don't get two women talking to each other and they're talking about makeup. No, that doesn't. I mean, maybe, but they did talk about. But they talk about regular thing. I mean, obviously for this episode, we're gonna be talking about disability stuff, and
yeah,
because that's why we're here. But like, if we did hung out for lunch, we'd probably be talking about something totally different that had nothing to do.
exactly.
We wouldn't even talk about disability at all.
No, less likely. Would not even bring it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see the success among disability people in different sectors. You're the first music producer I have not met, but like just actually like making it, actually doing. Because like, am I a producer by banging my drums like my pots and pans? Am I a producer now?
Hey, listen, I feel like most people would say you're probably not a producer. However, you could be a creative, I think, I feel like music has really just evolved into a lot of things where, you really could bang against pots and pans and make something really incredible, which is very cool, now what people are doing and showing their skill sets and stuff like that. I mean, there's a guy that I know that he does like pen tapping, and his name is Lenny.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, it's Lenny, I believe, and he's been on like the Jennifer Hudson show and a bunch of different other stuff, and gone viral so many times. Will Smith posted him on his page, and just a whole bunch of other people. And he's, like I said, just gone viral, and that's just with pen tapping. Which is a very cool skill. I mean, he has to do stuff like with his mouth and make sounds and do the rhythms with the pen
Mm-hmm.
tapping. So, you know, things have evolved in a lot of ways where, pen tapping back in the day or doing the pencil tapping was something that you do in school, or like you would see people sometimes do in school, but never thought of something that you could do as like a full time career or go viral for it. So, really things have changed where, like I said, you could do something with pots and pans and make something incredible. So there's really no limits, honestly.
Yeah, no, it's a dream be dreamed. I think there's a lot of like producers or up and coming. It is a really hard. I mean, you would know it's a very hard market to break through, and I think it comes down to a lot of luck of just being noticed and like, hey, someone wants to be like work with you and such. And there's also kind of like there's also huge rotations. Like you could have like one big hit, make millions, and like you never like be seen again. It's crazy how everything changes so fast.
Yeah, it is true. I mean, things are, things are definitely changing, and I believe that, some people are probably going to disagree with this, but I don't believe it's a hard market to break through if you're being yourself and you're authentic. I think a lot of times people get caught up in trends and what's hot and trying to stay relevant in that kind of way without just being themselves. And something that's helped me be around for as long as I've been around, because I've been, in the online space specifically for 10 years now. And just me continuing to be authentic to who I am and what my sound looks like, and treating people with kindness and creating community, is really going to help you stay afloat. Because when you focus on community, especially, like, that's something that I feel like a lot of producers and just creators in general, they really miss out on, is building the actual community. Because when you build a community, like, they're gonna support you through and through, you know and I think that that's really important to help you stand out, as far as just being able to do this for a long time. Because anyone, after a certain point, well, not anyone, I mean, most people, if you gave them the, tools and resources to learn music production, could probably make something that is, pretty decent enough for someone to get on to make a song or whatever. And, that's cool. So it's not just enough to have like really great music production. In my opinion, I believe that there is a combination of things, that, of course, the music production, but you also just have to be likable. Even if you're someone that's doing something under an anonymous name, I mean, even if you're doing customer service, like, something has to be of value outside of just your beats, because making great beats is just not enough. There's plenty of people that make amazing stuff better than me, and I know that across the board. However, maybe they're not selling any of their beats or never work with an artist or anything like that. So there's just so many things, and even when it comes to mentality as well, like, you have to be someone that really has a tough skin in this industry, especially because people are going to say stuff, that may hurt your feelings. And some of these things you have to take with a grain of salt. Some of the things you can listen to if you respect that person and what they're saying. At the end of the day, though, I definitely believe that building a community is going to help anyone stand out, and being yourself is going to help you in the long term. And so, yeah, I definitely believe that and the consistency too, whatever consistency looks like for you as well. So there's just so many factors into this, and that's what I love about music production, especially because there's just so many things that make this fun and enjoyable. And remembering about the impact, which is really a driving force for what I do, and purpose and all those things, is that the impact is what matters to me. And I think when you really focus on what do you want your impact to be, it's gonna help you really get through some tough times, especially in the music production like space. Because, a lot of people quit because they're not seeing the results they want to see immediately, or whatever timeline that they set. However, I definitely believe that, you know, just remembering what you want your impact to be and what your purpose is for doing all this is gonna help just keep things going.
Well, do you think producers get enough credit? Because most people, like, let's say, I don't know, let's name an artist like Katy Perry. She'll be like, oh, she had this great song, but realistically, she's really the only one that she sings it, and she gets like I guess like the credit due to the public. But like if you dive down, it's like, okay, who wrote the lyrics? So that's one, two, three, five people, and then who did the beats, and then I think it's like the producers. I'm not sure all the like layers into musical. It's more than just Katy Perry, for example. So like, do you think producers get enough credit?
I think that producers nowadays, especially, have to focus on brand building, because as far as credit, I mean, you may not be credited depending on who you are. If your name's not already solid, in the industry or known. And I think that that is an important factor as well, which is why for me, I've focused heavy on brand building. Because as far as getting credited, I I of course like to be credited. However, I know that me
Mm-hmm.
building my brand has allowed other opportunities to happen from that, where I'm not as worried, I guess. I think some people that are like, oh man, I wasn't credited for this song, or I'm not getting enough credit, or these things. Like, there's a lack of brand identity that happens, and again, it goes back to making beats is just sometimes just not enough nowadays. I know people don't can't stand the whole brand, like brand. You got to build a brand. You got to build a brand. However, now even more with social media and just everything that there is building a brand can really help you. Even if you're not being credited by necessarily the artist, because yeah, a lot of producers aren't going to be credited by these artists unless they are like a household name, or their in-house producer, or someone that the artist is working very close with, or is a very big contributor to their actual sound kind of thing. And, sometimes for these producers that are out here, maybe you're not a big contributor to their sound. Right? Maybe you're just someone that happened to get a song with them. However, their main producers are the people that get credit because they typically work on the records and are known. However, I definitely believe that building your brand is going to help you, even if you're not getting credited in the way that you'd like to, because you're always going to have that identity that you can really do anything with.
Well, I didn't know you have your. I think you call it a loop. No, not a loop. Uh, I'm just gonna describe it because I don't know the technical term, but you have like your intro that is specifically to you. So like I think
The producer
DJ
tag?
Khaled has
Oh,
it.
yeah, my producer tag.
Yeah, yeah. So you have that, so that helps.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
helps.
I have my producer
I,
tag.
I, yeah, like that. Yeah, I think DJ Khaled's one is actually his producer tag.
Yeah,
As annoying as it sounds,
yep. Well, you
it's like
remember it.
obviously why he does it. Yeah, I mean, I would never like growing up. I would listen to the producer tags, and it was like now they're called producer tags, but when I was listening to it, I was like, why is he like saying his name, or like why he does say like this phrase or stuff, and then like when you like go into it, you're like, oh, okay, that makes total sense now, like, but I also think like I'm just a regular person, so if you like, let's say, release a song to like Jay-Z, for example, I'll be like, oh, that's a cool song, Jay-Z. But like if I was the producer, I'll be like listening to a song, I'd be like, okay, this guy did a good job at his the song, the beat or whatever, and be like, I'll know to look up to the producer, not talk to him, because I think kind of like that niche kind of thing, like you only talk to other producers that know really what you do. For me, it's just I'm just a regular guy. I'm never gonna understand the nuances of it.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, for me, like sometimes I'll listen to a song and I will look at the producers and see who has produced on it. And sometimes you can look these
Hmm.
people up. Like I'll look them up on Instagram, and if they're like smaller producers, that's really cool because you can connect with them. Because sometimes they're making like the actual melodies, and I like doing drums, so you can connect with them. Like there's so many ways to network, especially as a producer, and that's something that you can do. Like if you're someone that's looking to get placements or whatever, like start listening to some songs and looking at who's produced on it. And if it's some of these people are not huge names, they're not someone that you can't access. So start looking at those names and start reaching out and be like, hey, like I just listened to XYZ song that you produced and really like what you did, with the melody or whatever. Because most of the producers that are
Hmm.
smaller are gonna say that they co-produced the song and say what they did or whatever. Or you can just say, hey, I
Hmm.
like what you did. Like, did you do the melody on this or the drums? And they might come back and say, oh man, thanks. Like, I did the melody, and it's like, oh, listen, I'd like love to collaborate. Like, I do drums or whatever. Like, I'm really into doing drum production and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
there's so many ways to put yourself out there, and I just believe just going for it and doing it is really gonna help. And then as far as my producer tag, I think that producer tags can be helpful, and also sometimes you just don't need them. I think obviously there's certain producers that don't use a producer tag, but who they are, right? You know their sound and that kind of thing. And so because they have a signature sound and style. And so, sometimes I don't use my producer tag. Sometimes I do. It just depends. I'm not as attached to it as I used to be when it comes to having my producer tag. Nowadays, I'm just like, if it feels good to put in there, I'll have it in there. But I do like my new producer tag because it says mini that's major, and so a good producer friend of mine, she actually made it. Her name's Ellipsy, and she's a music producer as well, and does a lot of other cool things. But she also does producer tags, so she did that tag for me, and I just thought it turned out so nice, and so I've really enjoyed my new tag that I've had in there, and so very, very cool stuff. I mean, it's just so interesting. Like, there's no rules to this music stuff. Like you can have a producer tag. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have to have one. You can do whatever, and I think that's what makes it fun about doing music specifically.
So let's talk about your hearing loss because I know you wear hearing aids
Yeah.
and you also been a producer over 10 years. So like, how does hearing loss affect your craft?
So it's interesting because I have mild hearing loss, which will decrease over time, but I haven't noticed too many differences, I suppose. However, when someone else has like mixed my beats, like I had someone mix my beats one time because they were doing like a live, and I was like, wow, like all the things that they heard and stuff like that. I was like, man, I wouldn't have heard that, or even noticed that. So I mean, I have noticed it in that way, but right now, as far as my hearing, it's not affecting it too much, which I'm grateful for because I'm still able to like create and you know do what I do now. But I do sometimes wonder like what will it look like in the next 10 years? Like, will my hearing remain similar to what it is now, or will it be significantly worse, or whatever? So yeah, I mean, I just try to be careful. I don't really listen to my stuff super loud or anything like that, and just trying to maintain the hearing that I do have.
So is it safe to say you were normal hearing and then your hearing is slowly deteriorating?
Well, with my OI, I mean, hearing loss is actually something that can come with osteogenesis imperfecta. So, I mean, that just progressed over time. But I didn't get hearing aids until recently. I think like 2019 or so. I think that's when I got my first hearing aids. So I haven't had them
So
that long.
because I know like hearing aids is an interesting topic because each hearing aid company has like a different sound to it. It's almost strange to hear like I wear hearing aids, but I'm pretty severely deaf. Like, I mean, I can hear other things. Like, if I take them out, I can hear things that sound different versus when I put the hearing aids on. And then when I switch, like, brands, it had a different sound profile, which is crazy. So, like, I really don't know if I'm hearing anything the way it should sound. Like, I know what you sound like, but I don't know if you really sound the way you do.
Yo.
So, like, do you think it affects the way you do music because of the
Oh
sound
yeah,
profile?
definitely. I mean, I don't wear my hearing aids when I make music for that reason because
Okay.
it's way too overwhelming, especially because I like to use 808s and stuff like that. And it's just a
Mm.
lot and it doesn't sound the same at all. And so it's actually a little more frustrating, which is a privilege because of course if I had to wear hearing aids like full time, like all the time, even making music, then I mean I would just have to get past it. But yeah, music like doesn't sound the same at all. However, from what I learned, it's not supposed to, because when was asking about that, there he was like, yeah, I mean the way that music sounds with hearing aids, like it's not gonna sound the same. I mean that's kind of because that's really not what hearing aids are even for that purpose. As
Mhm.
far as people making music and stuff like that, or whatever. It's so you can hear better, essentially, like other people and the environment and things like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't use them when I'm making music, and like I said in one of my videos, like I don't even wear them as much as I should, just because like a lot of times I like being in here, and so I'm not gonna have them on. But then I like wear them obviously if I have to be around people, and talk to people so I can hear them better. Because I kind of yell like when I don't have my hearing aids on. So that is
Are you wearing them now?
no, I'm not wearing them right now. I'm not.
I mean, it's easy because you can wear headphones and just
Yeah, you're pretty.
make it louder
Yeah,
if you
you're
need
pretty
to.
close to my ear, so I can hear you just fine. Yeah, I mean it really depends because, like I said, with hearing aids, it does change the sound profile of things. So it just depends on what I'm doing, and certain things I'm like, this wouldn't really work out well to have my hearing aids on.
So it's kind of like a handicap in a way.
I don't want to say that. It's just one of those things that I kind of have the privilege of choosing to wear or not wear. I mean, and I guess right now it's been more of an accessory, and over time it's going to be something that may be more essential that I just have to wear all the time. But right now, because my hearing loss is not so profound, I'm still able to maintain being able to like hear you right now without wearing them and things like that. But
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to like talking on the phone or things like that, I use my AirPods. So that's how. But if I didn't have AirPods, then I'd have to use my hearing aids to talk to someone. And so yeah, I mean, when I wear my hearing aids, it's definitely like when I go out or when I'm around the house, like talking to my family or whatever like that, so I can hear them better in conversation.
Yeah, kind of interesting that you choose to not wear them at all times because I would just feel you wouldn't want to miss any sounds out. Because I wonder if you're missing sounds that you just don't hear because you have the hearing loss. Because sound is so intricate. Like I didn't realize, there's like high, medium, low. That's easy to understand. But
Yep.
like there's like different frequencies and like you can really go in depth and like I looked at like a song's profile, I think it's called, like the layers to a song,
Hmm.
and it'll be like 20 different layers, and it's like it's crazy for one song to have like 20 different layers
Yeah.
just on one like 3 second clip.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I do wear my hearing aids, especially outside, like I do hear a lot of different things, and like, man, I probably didn't even notice before. So I know that they work. I know that like there's certain things that I'll hear, but sometimes it can also be overwhelming, especially since I'm also autistic. So it's just a lot. It's
Hmm.
layers, as you just mentioned, to everything.
Yeah, I mean, just from my experience with hearing aids and talking to like, especially like older people, like they don't want to wear a hearing aid because like for one, it gives them like a headache and like everything is so overwhelming and
Yeah,
then
it
it
is
can,
overwhelming. Yeah, because you're hearing a whole bunch
but
of
like,
things at once.
yeah, like I get it, but like you have to keep wearing it to for your brain to like compensate for the sound. Because I live in New York City, so like I remember like my mom accidentally washed my hearing aids in laundry, so I didn't have hearing aids for like 2 weeks, like one ear.
Hmm.
And I remember just putting one on, the other one on, and then like I got this huge headache. I live in New York City, so like you go from the quiet, like where you get hearing aids to like just really loud, and like you get a headache. But I just say like you have to wear it so your brain just like acclimates to like the new normal, and like I remember my grandma wore it for the first time, and like she could hear like the water from the pool for the first time now.
Yep.
Once you like in the kitchen, is like you just don't realize how much you're missing until you wear it, and actually like
Yep.
you gotta get used to it. It's interesting just the sound profile. Like I kind of like wish I could wear like regular headphones just so I can experience what it sounds like. But like the plus side to wearing hearing aids is that I have kind of wireless AirPods 24/7,
Yep.
so I have like the most comfortable headphones because I don't know if you have do you have moles or it just goes in your ear?
They just go in my ear, like you
Oh,
just insert it in the.
yeah. Yeah, you have minor. So like if you have moles, I mean you have medium to severe hearing loss, but like it's really comfortable and you have AirPods all day, so like it automatically connects to my phone, so I can just talk. I can like listen to music 24/7. I don't have to charge it. With like AirPods every 2 hours, it goes and goes and goes, and
Yep.
the battery's amazing. And it lasts like a week.
Yeah. See, mine I take out and I put it on the charger because I have the Philips. I think the brand of my hearing aid is Philips.
Hmm. Yeah, it's amazing what it can do. It's just interesting to not to wear. I get why you wouldn't, but I, 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 I wonder if your profile, like, I guess, I wouldn't say like a brand change, but like, I wonder if your style of let's say you wore hearing, let's say your hearing loss got really bad and you had to wear hearing aids all the time, would your sound sound different? Like, would someone notice a difference in sound from like before the hearing aid saga and then afterwards? You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that'll definitely be interesting to see if any of that changes. But I mean, there's also muscle memory too, so I don't think much
Hmm.
would change too much because I'm so used to doing things a certain way. So I believe I'd be able to navigate that and adapt where it wouldn't sound too different. Or I just have someone
Hmm.
mix my stuff for me if that was the case. Like if it sounded completely different, then I would just like send the stems to someone that I knew mixed well, and then just have them send it back to me.
Oh, so here, so I have here you broke over 200 bones and had 20 surgeries. So do you say your physical disability a hindrance to your craft?
Uh, I don't want to say it's a hindrance. I just would say it definitely impacts me, in a lot of ways, especially with chronic pain, specifically because I do deal with chronic pain, and so there are some days
Mm-hmm.
where I'm just not doing much. So, I mean, that affects me in a way where, like, maybe I don't make a video that day or whatever. But, again, I'm really big into adapting, and that's the biggest thing. It's just finding different ways to adapt, is like what I do now, and that's what's helped me, even with my disability. I mean, because thankfully, I haven't broken anything in quite some time since like college. So, and that's been several years. And then, surgeries, I've been good on surgeries too. So again, it's just like that's part of my story, and obviously it did impact me a lot at that time when I was having a lot of fractures and different surgical operations. But nowadays, I just deal more so with the chronic pain, so I take medication and things like that, and that has its side effects. However, I just adapt and like either like on the days I'm feeling great, I just record content in bulk and then just edit my videos and schedule them out. And then when I'm feeling good again, I'll just do the same thing. And so that's what works for me personally.
But when you are, like, let's say in a flare or a lot of pain and such,
Mm-hmm.
so like, what helps you more? Do you like to create more upbeat music? Like, does it help you more, or do you like to soak in the pain and like create music based on that?
No, I just rest. I don't even do any. I don't do either one. I
Okay.
just rest. I feel like rest is important. So no, I don't. I don't do that at all. I just focus on resting so that I can have the energy to jump back into whatever I'm looking to do.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
that's what helps me personally.
So like, I'm not a producer at all, obviously. So I know you kind of talk about like hustling and like creating a brand and you know partnering and stuff. Like, so do you make more money like doing solo advertising or like putting beats on a website?
So I would say more so it's a combination of things. So, of course, I have my website where I sell beats, and then also custom work is something that I've been getting more into doing custom beats. And then again, I'm not only a music producer, so I do content creation, and I've done stuff for different brands like Coca-Cola, Snapchat, Amazon, and just other notable brands and up and coming brands and things like that. So that also helps contribute to the income that I have. So I do quite a bit, voice acting, and so I really don't limit myself. I always say that I'm limitless, and I don't attach myself to one specific identity. Like of course, the mini producer brand is the encompassing of music production and just everything that I do. Like it started as just a music producer brand, and then it evolved into just all the things that I've gotten into, like acting, modeling, and all that. So I have a lot of different options and just opportunities that come to me due to the just areas that I'm involved in, and so it really helps. So I don't have to just rely on one specific thing to generate income, which is helpful. So if beats are like not doing as great a certain month or whatever, like I know that I'm gonna be okay because I am doing other things. So it's really just a balance for me that works well for my specific situation. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I upload beats on my website, miniproducer.com, and I also have where you can get custom beats for me and book a session with me on my website as well. So there's just so many things. I also am looking to get more into like motivational speaking and doing public speaking events and stuff like that. And so there's just really no limits to what I'm doing now and what I'm looking to continue to do. So it's just building that empire, gonna keep going up and up.
Yeah, you're just trying to go into every avenue that you can
Yep.
put your feet into. Like, yeah, there's so much you can do. I think that's kind of like the definition of a hustler, like doing whatever you can to make things work, and
Yeah, but also being
maybe less.
intentional too. I mean, I think like there's a difference between hustling and kind of being all over the place, and hustling and being intentional. And that's something that I'm very intentional about what I do and like why I'm doing it. So I'm not just doing anything just to make money or work with anyone just to get a check or whatever. I'm intentional about what that looks like for me and what aligns with my morals and values and what I'm looking to do and my goals and things like that. So I would say on top of that, like the intention is very important of like what you're doing and how you're doing it instead of just kind of going after
Mhm.
whatever and you don't really have like a goal in mind.
Yeah, like so. What do you think? Do you think you're get when you get hired? Do you think you're being hired for your producing skills, or do you think you're hired because of your disability?
It depends on the opportunity. So, I mean, if we're just strictly talking about music production, no, I don't believe I'm getting hired because of my disability. Because for music production, you have to actually be good to do something custom. Because like that is gonna say a lot about them if they have something that's which trash is subjective. But if it's not good, it's not good. So no, I don't believe it has anything to do with my disability at all. I mean, I believe people may want to support me due to the fact that I am disabled. However, it's not the like only factor into why they would want to work with me because if that was the case, then I like would have millions of people that would probably want to work with me all at once just for the disability factor. So I think it's a combination of things, but I definitely believe that the talent. My late mentor, he used to tell me that like my chair can get me in the door and my disability can get me in the door, but like my talent has to keep me there. And so I definitely
Mm-hmm.
believe the talent is what helps with those specific opportunities. Now there are things where like maybe I'm working with a brand who's specifically looking for people that are disabled. Then yeah, then that's those times where there my disability is the factor in that like a drawing factor, but also my personality and my content as well is what helps too. Even if it's a company that is looking for someone that has a disability.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's just depending on the situation. I think we're kind of all marketing ourselves to what works best for that situation. Like
Yeah,
we just realistically, at the end of the day, we do want to get through the door. Like, we can get into the door, and then let the rest carry us because that's what we all. I think the hardest part really is getting your foot in the door,
yeah,
and then hopefully your talent will keep you there because they can kick you out too. So
yeah.
that's like the hard thing. But yeah, I think do whatever you gotta do to get to that high place. Like no one really cares how you get there as long as you're on the top. That's all that matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you're not hurting people, I mean, again, it goes back to that intent though. And something that, I've noticed too is like just because you're disabled doesn't mean you're going to be successful. And I think that like that's a hard
Mhm.
truth for people to kind of really understand, but like having a
Mhm.
disability is not going to be the reason that you're successful. Because there's plenty of people that I know that are disabled that are doing different things and, you know, are maybe not reaching the levels of success that they would like to. Because again, you have to have all of these different factors into it. And of course, you can talk deeper
Mhm.
into like accessibility and privilege and all of these different things that go into it, for why someone may not be where they want to be. So, I know it's much more involved than just like, oh, you just gotta have talent. So, I know that, yeah, my talent has helped, but I also have the privilege of like having reliable transportation from like my parents and stuff like that. And, if you're someone that doesn't have any transportation means, then you probably can't go to a networking event and things like that. And even for myself, like transportation is difficult for me as well. So, I understand that in a lot of ways because a lot of my interactions happen online, so I don't really go out too much right now. But you know, with that, I think when you are disabled, depending on what your disability is, it's just finding what works for you. If building on social media is going to be your thing because you can't leave the house like that, then that's your thing. And everything else will come together, honestly, because I've noticed like once you build up on social media, especially like a lot of brands, in my experience, especially if it's something where they want to like film me, like they're gonna come out to you and find a way to get you around. Like when I did my Snapchat opportunity, like they flew me out, and I like obviously they got an accessible vehicle for when I got to the location that I was at and stuff like that. They already had that set up and things like that. So
Hmm?
my dad just had to obviously bring me to the airport, and we went together. And my fiance also, she came too. So you know, obviously, still I was able to get a ride and things like that. But I mean, at that time for where we were living, I could have called to get a ride too if we needed it, if it wasn't my dad taking me. But yeah, I mean, there's just so many factors, and again, adapting is the name of the game, and finding what works for you, because one size is not gonna fit all, so you just have to figure out what's gonna work best for your situation. I've found what works for my situation, and it may not work for someone else because they might not have that same access or, you know, dynamic with people that are around them or financial access or anything like that. So I know there's a lot more that goes into it than just like be talented and stay consistent. Like there's a lot of layers, especially if you have a disability.
Yeah, so before I take the mic away from you, is there anything you want to say? Promote any words of wisdom, no winning lottery numbers? The mic is all yours.
Well, I would just say for anyone listening to this, just keep keep doing what you're doing as long as it's not hurting anybody. Like if you're doing something wild, like stop doing that. I would definitely suggest, nothing illegal and all those things because I don't want you getting in trouble. So, and I I heard this quote from the a podcast I listened to from Mel Robbins, and she said that confidence is the willingness to try. And so I feel like if there's something that you want to do, that you just have to be willing to try. If as long as you can do it. I mean, if you obviously can't do it, then But like if there's something you really want to do, and you're able to find a way to do it, like just do it. If you want to make videos, like just get on camera and make a video. Don't worry about, oh, is the lighting
Mhm.
perfect? Is whatever and all that stuff. Like just put it out there, and put captions so people can read it. Anyway, if they have hearing loss and stuff like that, so it's accessible. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, I would definitely just say have fun too. Like make sure you having fun and just being yourself and living a life that's authentic to you, and asking yourself like what do you want and how do you want to navigate through life, because you're the one who has to deal with the consequences of life, and the actions and choices that you make. And then if you want to keep up with me, you can check me out at Mini Producer. That's MiniProducer. And I also have my website, miniproducer.com. And if you're specifically looking for where my beats are, it's miniproducer.com/beats. And yeah, I mean, I love doing custom.
All the links will be in the
Yeah,
description below, so you don't have to like rewind it.
see,
And
there
just,
you go.
it'll be on the description below, so just click
And,
on it. No worries, I
and I
got you.
love doing custom work. That's really my bread and butter. I love being able to collaborate with artists and brands and creatives, business owners, whoever you are that needs custom beat production. That's really something I enjoy doing. So definitely check that out to book a session with me and we can work. So yeah, I really enjoyed doing this and I appreciate you having me on here. This was a great conversation.
Yeah, so thank you, Jay, so much for giving me your time and expertise. Thank you, everyone, for listening and watching, and I'll see everyone next time. Bye.